Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Sunday night's Radical Geek live stream. I think I clicked the button a couple minutes early, but that's fine. So let's see. Goodness, it's chatty in here this evening. I see Carrie is here and Lynette. And Lynette mentions that she can only stay here for a little bit, but we treasure your company. And of course, anytime that you get to spend with your precious, precious son or our children in general by any parent is absolutely a blessing. So definitely that's the priority. Carrie says, hope that Lynette has a gouda rest of the night. And we're going to use some gouda too. So perfect all around. Welcome from our moderators, Attila and Airfrying Auntie. Gosh, I'm so glad to see you, Airfrying Auntie. I'm so worried with you and the weather out that way. I hope that you stay safe, and we're definitely thinking of you here. Let's see, Sharon is on, so that's great to see. Lots of back and forth, so lots of hellos. All right. So there is a lot going on my little counter here today. So I'm going to start by turning on my skillet that has some lard in it. Make sure I'm getting the right temperature. And I'm just turning it on to 325 so that lard can start melting. The next thing I'm going to do is I have my unflavored beef gelatin, and I've got a little bit of water here, and I'm just going to sprinkle that in there to do what's called blooming the gelatin. What that does is that allows water to get into the gelatin granules, and it'll help smooth it out as we go along. But it has to sit there for a few minutes, and that's fine because we've got time. Just want to make sure it gets in here because lots of other stuff has to happen beforehand. Hey, Gigi's here. Good to see you joining us tonight. Airfryer says, yes, it's still storming, definitely staying in, and her brother is at her mom's, so all is good now. I'm glad to hear that. Yep. So this recipe tonight is, it seems like a lot of ingredients, and there's kind of some prep work to do, but it's not really that strenuous, especially when you think about the fact that we've done a lot more elaborate recipes, and we do elaborate stuff all the time because most of us are cooking lovers. But ultimately, it's actually a very simple recipe, and you'll find that in the winter when we're doing a lot of these cheesy, creamy soups, the procedures are all very similar. So let me just give my lard a little bit of a slide around in the skillet. And I'm going to go through my ingredients. I have a lot of poblanos here. I have two versions. I have some that were roasted, peeled, deveined, and then chopped up. And then I have the fresh poblano that was de-seeded and deveined and then diced. Now, this is my personal preference because I like to have bits and pieces and niblets in my soup. If you do not, and you're going to want to go ahead and puree everything and make it into a cream, then you need to cook, peel, and devein all of your poblanos. Also, I made myself some cauli rice to go under my soup. That's also optional, but I just really like it. And I'm in the mood. I'm in that wintry mood for like a nice a creamy rice soup. So there it is. Hey, Barely Begun. Good to see you tonight. So my gelatin is blooming, and you can see instead of being liquid water, now it's kind of like a solid globule. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I also have salt and pepper and a little bit of cumin, about a teaspoon. I have chicken, and I cooked my chicken. If you don't already have your chicken pre-cooked, because I've been using it for a couple days in other things, but if you don't, then what you would do is you'll take your chicken thighs and cut it up into little cubes, cook it off, and then take it out of the pan. Easy peasy. I have a quarter of a purple onion and garlic. That's all minced up. About 5 cloves. I forget how many I did. It's up to you. 1 tablespoon of cream cheese, and then I have 2 cups of cheese. I used half cheddar and half gouda. I put all of the ingredients in the description that I'm using and notes beside them. I'm using cheddar and gouda because I had cheddar and gouda on hand. A better choice would absolutely be to use a chihuahua or a Monterey Jack or a Muenster cheese. They would be more appropriate to the profile. But sometimes we do what we got to do. And then I know I mentioned keto chow soup, and it's all about keto chow soup this week. So I bet you thought I was going to make a recipe with the new flavors, but it's a trick. I'm using the savory chicken. There will be cream of mushroom and potato recipes in the future. I see Renee has joined us, and Uncle Big Guy here for the love stream. Oh, hilarious. I know I did make that typo earlier. But you know what? There's a lot of love here. So it works either way. Renee says that smoked gouda is her favorite. So now that my lard and everything, we're going to get a bunch of sizzle, and I might choke a little bit. Even though poblanos aren't spicy, they still put that in the air. I'm just going to throw my poblanos in here and get them so they can blister up and get real nice. You want to do just like you do with onions when you get them first soft and then a little bit on the caramelized side. We're doing the same thing, just with chopped up poblano peppers. And it looks like a lot. Well, it's poblano soup. And then my onion. You cook your onion and your pepper at the same time. They take the same amount of time to cook up. Give that a little bit of a stir so it can start going. And now we kind of wait for a few minutes. But we'll get a few things going. And now I want to start off talking to you about my beverage for the evening. Hey, the Warden, good to see you guys. And Rickwin, nice to join you. Good to see more people. So tonight's beverage, I bring this up because you can't see it from the distance, or at least I can't see it on my screen. It's called Gamer Tea. Carrie? It doesn't want to focus. Okay, there you go. Caffeine free. It's called Sleepy Time with theanine. So, and we're going to spend some time talking about theanine, but also I'm going to tell you guys to do some research on it, because if I get going, we're going to get deep into neuroscience, and it's going to be so nerdy that it's even too far for me. And I don't want to do that because I want my soup tonight. And I love nerdy science and all that good stuff, but there are limits. So, but we're going to talk about it some. You did get the note there just from the title, Sleepy Time Tea. Now, I will say there's a price with this, Carrie. I'm sorry, but I do want to share it. Hey, Hungry He says, hey, yo. He was finishing up a test run this week for the Friday Night Feast recipe. And the Warden posted a pic in Hungry He chat. Well, I'm going to have to check that out after this live stream. And against everything that I have taught you guys about tea, I'm having it. It's in a tea bag. But guess what, guys? There's no tea in there. Let me see if I can't hook that little tag. Well, so be it. All right, so I've got my water at 186 degrees, and I'm just going to put this in here. And once I pour the water, we'll do some stirring. And you can see that it brews right up lovely. But like I said, it's called Sleepy Time Tea, which makes you think about that other brand that we don't talk about because it's horrible. And it has, even though it has the adorable bear on the front, that stuff is no bueno. But I will explain. Gosh, you guys, the poblanos smell so nice cooking up. Complete distraction. Carrie, you said nothing wrong. Everything is fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, let me just make some space here. My cheese up here in the front. Anyway, so what was I saying? I lost track. That's why I need this tea. Okay, so this Sleepy Time tea has rubiose root, catnip leaf and flower, which, yes, people can have catnip. It does not have the same effect on people as it does on cats. It's a very calming ingredient. And then we have chamomile stem and pollen, lavender flower, organic lemon balm leaf, peppermint leaf, and the L-theanine organic valerian root, and it also has natural vanilla. So we're going to talk about the theanine though, because that's the main ingredient and the main reason that you would have this tea. Theanine works with your neurotransmitters, and while it still has a bit of a boost, it also gives a calming effect, but in a non-sedation way. So if you have ADHD, now, by the way, before you take any theanine supplement, talk to your medical doctor. Any supplement that you take, talk to your medical doctor first. And I know, we say don't take a lot of supplements when you're keto, you can get all your nutrition from food, but you know darn well that we like our electrolytes, we like our amino acids, we know that nootropics are awesome. So we want to make sure, though, that you should know that there are some interactions that can happen with, like if you take a stimulant or a blood pressure medicine, because it can lower your blood pressure because it's relaxing you. Let me get a little plate to put my tea bag on. I gotta admit, you know, the tea bag's awfully simple. Now I'm just gonna throw it in the compost and be done. So, but all right, so we've got our tea. It's still too hot for me to sip it though. Stir my veggies. I see a little bit of dark bits coming, but my onions are still solid, so they've got a ways to go, and that is fine. Once I get stuff together a little bit, then we can slide everything over. Let's see. Oh, Renee says she would so be making stuff with catnip for folks at work. But let's see. Oh, because Renee says, wouldn't it be fun if the catnip did affect people with the same way as it does cats? Oh, the fun she would have. Now it makes sense. Yeah, Carrie, that's correct. That's actually one of the facts I was going to talk about. So good job. That the theanine is an amino acid. It's actually found in green tea, less in black tea, and also in mushrooms. Hence your Keto Brains product and your nootropics. That's why they're really big on the mushrooms. So, but I will say that in the green tea, the theanine works really well. And that's why people can drink a lot of green tea and not get anxious and jittery. The theanine levels in green tea balance that out, the caffeine effect. And the theanine, what it also does is it helps to level out some of your neurotransmitters, and also helps to balance the adrenaline, dopamine, serotonin, happiness band tour cycle. So if your serotonin levels run really high because you have been having too much caffeine, or your cortisol's been super high, the theanine will work with that to balance it. And to this moment, the medical studies, a lot of them have completed and shown this effect. However, it's still allowed over the counter and does not require a prescription. But like I said, you do want to talk to your doctor just to make sure, you know, if you're on a blood pressure medicine, you just want to double check. Plus, I always say, get your blood test and make sure all of your stuff is in the balance that it should be. Sharon is asking me what the green stuff is. So this is the poblanos that were roasted, peeled, deveined. I want to say de-seeded, but as I look at my dish, there seem to be quite a lot of seeds in there. That's fine. I never mind the seeds. And I will explain to you about that. Let me bump up my temperature a little bit because my skillet thinks it's at temp and slowed down the cooking. And I want my stuff to char up a little, so we're going to raise it up. almost ready for me to add other things. The reason I've got half fresh and half cooked is because I like chunky little bits in my soups. Earlier I was saying that if you don't want that and you want to blend your soup smooth all the way 100%, then you need all roasted. So I'm going to try and put this in here. I didn't think this all the way through. I don't want to sploosh, but I'm going to put this in my blender bottle with some chicken broth. I had 12 ounces of chicken stock in here, or bone broth, whatever you want to call it. Chicken bone broth and chicken stock are the same thing, you guys. It's just very, very trendy to talk about bone broth, but chicken stock is bone broth. It's stock. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just like to point it out. It's one of those weird little facts. The other thing I'm going to do is into my blender bottle, I'm also putting my gelatin. Look at that. This is the Bloom gelatin. So from powder to... And I apologize in advance, but we are in fact going to have the blender sound. Let's see. Carrie says he's been roasting the cacao nibs and then making a hot cocoa drink, and sometimes it makes him sleepy. You wonder if that's the same with the theanine. It could be. I don't remember about the cocoa. Now I'm going to take my keto chow, and this is where your recipe could differ. Not everybody has keto chow on hand, and if you don't have it on hand, you have to be remember that it takes time to ship. So if you don't have keto chow, you're going to just blend the chilies and the broth and the gelatin. Off to your side, you're going to have another 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream, or a half cup, up to you. Half cup to 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream. Just set it to the side because it would go in at the end. You will also, instead of 1 ounce of cream cheese, I keep wanting to say tablespoon, but it's ounces. 1 ounce of cream cheese, you would have 2 ounces. So your substitute for the keto chow is 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream and 1 ounce of cream cheese, and then you'll have the 2nd ounce that comes with the keto chow recipe. I know, but I wrote it in the description, so you don't have to remember it all right now. I know that was very convoluted. All right. It's getting there, you guys. Whew, it's hot in here. We did a lot of laundry, so all the steam comes in here, and then I'm cooking. I'm like, even though the house is actually rather cool. Oh, so nice. I'll tell you also, they really did a nice job with this sleepy time blend because they added the lemon balm, mint, and lavender. And those herbs are also very relaxing, and from a sensual standpoint, it really invigorates your sense of smell, which stimulates also, again, that adrenaline dopamine cycle. So it can lift them up if you tend to run. The big thing with the theanine, though, is that it's the anti-anxiety and the high focus, which is why it is in all the nootropic supplements. It's a huge deal. All right. Oh, it's starting to look so nice. And you can see, even on the camera, you can see that it shrunk down, which is what it's supposed to do. It's absorbed my lard nicely. It's getting, my onions are getting lovely, as are the chili. And yes, air fried auntie, poblanos are mild. You can eat this, no problem. No worries, because I know that you have a very sensitive to the spice. And I know I've steered you wrong in the past, but I promise you, poblanos you can eat. All right, I'm going to blend. Hang tight for the sound and for the excited little dog who's going to flip out, unless he has fallen asleep someplace far away. Okay, there is our soup base. All right, it's done. he had to give an extra bark just to make sure I knew that there was a blender going. So that is the creamy part for our poblano soup. I have a couple things here to add. I'm going to go ahead and throw in my garlic. You don't want to put the garlic in too soon or it will burn. And I'm going to put my chicken because it's not hot. And I want that to warm up. Let's see. Renee says, get it, Dyson. He looked at me like, what? Get it? Oh, and the warden mentions that green tea is good for the health, too. Yeah, and Air Friend Annie says, Dyson, the defender from Rogue Leaves and Blenders. Yes. Hey, Keto Simple. Good to see you. And Tutu Cat. Dyson trying to show that blender who's boss. 100%. He hates it. Sometimes, too, if he knows that if he sees you getting the blender bottle ready, he'll bark beforehand before anything happens. Like, we know. Relax, little dog. He needs the theanine. Only theanine, I don't know if it has effects on dogs. I would not give. I'm joking. Don't come at me. Don't give your dog supplements. That's not a. No, don't do that. It was just being funny. Oh, and Renee says Jolly hates the vacuum. All right. I wish that you. Unfortunately, the camera just doesn't show how absolutely beautiful, lovely this is. It's gotten all glossy. Yeah, it's the best. All right, so I almost grabbed my cauli rice. Now I do have just plain bone broth. Get that going first. And yes, this is multiple servings. He says he thought seeds and stems was a bad thing. It's not. Sharon says she'll take a plate now. Honestly, it would be, you could stop, you could throw cauli rice on here right now and go to town and it would be lovely. But we're being extra. Let's see. Renee says her Basenji is used to attack the vacuum. Yeah, you know what? Dyson will bark at the vacuum a little bit, but for the most part, it's beeping sounds at the blender. Beeps, though, like drive him up the wall. And I just want to get this broth heated. And since I've got this broth going, now we can add our salt and pepper. Yes, I was generous with the pepper. Sorry, Attila. Attila thinks I use too much pepper, but I think there's never enough pepper. So, compromise. It's in between. Sharon says she could be here before it gets cold. Possibly. But like I said, it's such a simple thing. You have like a lot of little pre-steps, but with all the chopping and the roasting, the initial roasting. But truly, if you didn't want to roast any and you just wanted all chunky ones, you could absolutely do that. Now, I will tell you though, if you want your soup smooth before you put the chicken in, the reason you have to roast and peel them is because you can't blend up raw roasted pepper. For whatever reason, it's disgusting texturally. The peel gets very fibrous and it's very unpleasant. So that is why if you're doing this and making the creamy poblano part with your pureed pepper, they have to be roasted and peeled. So, which is weird because you can cook them like this and they're fine. But once you blend it, forget it. All right. The other thing with the theanine and the way it reduces the cortisol and the general anxiety is that it's supposed to help you with your sleep, because if you have like ADHD, when you try to sleep, you get racing thoughts and your brain goes everywhere over everything over and over. And you can't really just like relax to shut down. And so the theanine kind of, because it's helping to balance some of that, will help can help some people. They finished 2 studies on that so far with positive results. So looking up, and while I am not a medical professional, I'm just gonna say I can read studies. Oh, and Mama Bear Lynette's asking how to describe how you roast the poblanos. Was it over an open flame? Well, I threw mine on the smoker because I'm lazy and it's easier. But you can throw them on a sheet pan in the oven. You can torch it and just blister it up. You can throw it in a skillet, cast iron on the stove, just so you get it black and blistered. Then throw them into a Ziploc bag so it gets all steamy. And then and let it cool, and while it's steam, and then once you can touch it, you can pull it out and the skin will slip right off. So just like you know, if you've ever had to do any chilies before at all, it's the same for all chilies for fire roasting them. Let's see. Carrie says he's trying to find the tea that also states that if you drink it before bed and that helps you. Chamomile tea, valerian root is, chamomile and valerian are sedative ingredients. So they will definitely make you sleepy, but they do not have balancing properties of neurotransmitters. So that's why this is like a combo blend. So I will tell you that while this broth is thin, I will tell you it is reducing, and it would be nice just as is. I'm just going to be straight up here. I forgot to add the cumin, you guys. Let's get the cumin sprinkled around in here and stir it up. Cumin, or cumino, or whatever you want to call, however you want to say it, is a seed that, and you grind it up, and it's sort of, it's kind of, to me, it's what bumps up and makes chili taste like chili. And it makes beef taste beefier. It's a real flavor enhancer. All right. We're almost done here. Can you believe it? Also, you know, I always have to have something cold. Like I mentioned, it was hot in here. It's just Gamer Supps, the non-caffeine sort. It's the snake oil flavor that tastes like apple pie. But I only used this much water, and then I used seltzer. Oh my God, it's blowing me away with deliciousness. And Renee says she likes to roast in the oven and then into plastic. Yeah, and if you don't have a Ziploc bag, but you have saran wrap, you can throw them in a bowl and cover that with a saran wrap, and it'll steam up and loosen the skin the same way. All right, I'm going to turn the temperature down. And now we're going to add our creamy base. Like I said, I use the Keto Chow savory chicken. I thought about using one of the new flavors, but it's just the savory chicken really lends itself to this. It's just the best substitute for it. You get it all in there. It was very tempting to add bacon, but I was like, that's getting to be too many flavors. Just plain and simply too many. So, but as you can see, because I've got chicken and the gelatin in there, that this is a pretty high protein dish as well. So you're getting good solid protein. We had our lard, and so you're getting good fat in here too. And of course, all our cheeses, of which, let me just give this a stir and get it going, and then we'll put the cream cheese in. Once the cream cheese dissipates, then we'll put in the shredded cheese. Check it out, you guys. We're almost ready. I can't wait to bring this up close for you to see. It's a lovely soup. Like I said, and of course, it is my preference to have the pieces. But like I said, if you don't, then before you put the chicken, take your peppers and onions out and put it in with the broth and blend it up. Okay, good night, Lynette. Enjoy the time with your son. Okay, we put that cream cheese in. just so you know, we're just going to melt the cream cheese, and then we're going to mix in the shredded cheese. And that's it. Tutu says, at least she does have a big bag of chicken soup ready that she can use for this. Oh, yeah, nice. Like I said, and it's really flexible. You really almost can't mess it up. I say as that's the sign for me to like mess it up. Patty says she's going to have to make it soon. It looks really delicious. I think it is, but I also really love green chilies, Poblanos, Anaheims, Hatch greens, all of them. And you could mix and match if you want to, but this is a Poblanos because it is. And if you want it hot, then I would still stick with the mild, the Poblano and Hatch. And then if you really want to bump up the heat, then I would just put a sprinkling, a very light sprinkling of your preferred extra spicy chili flake. I would lean towards a scorpion because of the fruitiness that would play off the smoky hardiness of the Poblano better than like a ghost, which would be too sharp and acidic. Still got cream cheese chunk in here, so it'll be a few. Oh, let's see. It was a Gamer Sleepy Time tea. Oh, yeah. So this is Gamer Sup's brand, Gamer Tea. But the other tea, I just thought you were looking up other teas in general. So, hang on, Carrie, and I'll show. It's called Sleepy Time with Theanine, and it's by Gamer Sups, GAMERSUPPS. Give me a minute to pause while I continue to stir. Oh, and Patty says that it was Gamer Sleepy Time tea. Yep. And I wish I had thought to put it in the comments, but I can put it in after the live stream. I didn't bring a keyboard, or I could do it from here. So, but yeah. All right. It's just taking me a minute I had to like pay attention, and I'm looking for my my cream cheese to dissolve, which I want to be like, oh, but and it was often too. So, but you know, it takes time. Maitreya, have some patience. Maybe I should have some more of my tea to calm me down, right? But also, this gives time for the flavors to meld and all of that good stuff. So, patience is a virtue that Maitreya does not have, which is too bad. Oh, Carrie says he doesn't want me to put soup on the mouse or the keyboard. You know what? It happens. But yeah, I just left it in the living room. I usually bring it over so that if I really need it, it's right there. And today, I don't know, I just lost my mind and left it there. I was like, oh, I never need the keyboard. So, of course, now I want it. That's just always the way. All right. I'm going to start sprinkling in my cheese. So I was looking to see if I still had a Dyson because sometimes he gets very excited at the mention of cheese because he hopes that I drop it, and which happens every so often, but not nearly often enough for his liking. This over here. So, but like I said, and I use cheddar and gouda. Better choices would be Chihuahua or Monterey Jack. Yeah, because they're good melting cheeses. Muenster would be really awesome in this too. Oops, did I just splash soup everywhere? Of course I did. It would not be a Radical Geek live stream if I didn't slop something somewhere. Fixed. So what else we got going on, everybody? So I know, Shauna, that you have to worry about all of the storms there. I really hope you don't get a power outage and flooding. But so, and Tutu Q Cat says, yum, the cheese. Oh, Carrie says he thought I thought green tea had caffeine. Yes, green tea does have caffeine, and since he has put in some caffeine, he can try some tea, but you'll have to be careful. Yeah, I think that even with the balancing from the theanine, that green tea would probably be too caffeinated for you, Carrie. I would recommend sticking with the Rubios. Uh, I don't know. I just would be very hesitant with your sensitivity. All right, so I just need to be patient enough to let my cheese melt, which it is. And by the way, I love cheese, and it's Sunday, Friday and Sunday, our favorite cheese days. I put a little bit of Gouda here so that I could sprinkle it on top of my food because it just felt like I would like to. All right, I'm going to shut the heat off. There's one shred of escapee cheese. Into the pot it goes. How dare it try to get away? All right, so that is it for, like I said, there was prep to get the chilies ready, and of course you have to cook your chicken, but as it goes, and then you can see that a lot of this cream soup stuff is not as complex or elaborate as is often made out to be. All right, let me set my spoon here. I'll be switching to this one. I'm going to put it right over the top of my cauli rice. Get a nice sauce going. I said soup because it's technically soup, but it is thick enough to almost be a stew. Depends on what your definition of soup or stew is. I think I made myself more than I can eat tonight, but that's all right. We'll see. No, I'm kind of hungry. So you set this aside and come around. My spoon, mustn't forget. And there we go. There we go. That is the creamy, cheesy poblano chicken soup. And let's get in here. I say let's get in here, but like I don't want to burn my mouth. And Lisa, no, I did not use a new soup. I went old school and I used a savory chicken keto chow. The potato would probably would work fine. I don't know about the mushroom. That would be kind of maybe a weird flavor combo, but I don't know. Oh yeah, that is so good. I will not be sad to eat this for a couple meals or 3. Let's see. Let me get back here into the comments. Let's see. There we go. There. Oh, Patty validates that it was the Gamer's Tea by Gamer Sups, Sleepy Time with Theanine. There's our conversation we had about Carrie and the green tea. And Carrie says he's been able to moderate things now that he used to not be able to with the caffeine. So he says most of his caffeine has been just with the dark chocolate and cacao, though. Yeah, which is a very small amount, so I'd be careful. And Lisa was napping, so I will go through it again in a few minutes and get back to you on this. Let's see. And Carrie says he hasn't been able to get Rubio's tea. Everything is expensive. This there has been. He has his invisible coffee, which is water. Yeah, actually, you know what, though? Throw a couple pinches of salt into that water and sip it, and it's very satisfying. It'll help with your electrolytes as well. Hey, Miriam. This is getting up early tomorrow, taking a friend for cataract surgery in the morning. Oh, fortunately, that doesn't take a really long time these days, but I know that they'll be really glad to have you there. Rickwin answers that I'm making the poblano soup. And Sharon says it looks good. Renee says, so it's like a Heath stoop. Yeah, something like that. All right, so let me see. Conversation just a little bit back and forth. Compliments on the soup. Tutu Q Cat needs the soup. Barely Begun says in the background he's been applying to more festivals, a Celtic and a 3-weekend Ren Fair. Ooh, a Ren Fair. Well, good luck. I hope that you get in. But I know that the competition is fierce. So you might have to try a couple times or a couple years because they are the competition is so tough. And this is your first year vending, right? So I'm not sure, but I think that's correct that this is your first year out vending. Oh, let's see. Oh, Sharon says Steph came peeking around the corner when he heard that I was making soup again because he liked the broccoli cheddar. If he likes the Poblano chilies, he'll like this one too. It's not that different. Let's see. Carrie says, thanks for the reminder to put Redmond salt in his water. Yep. You're welcome. And he found this tea. Yeah. It's really, really good. But I just got some on my fingers, so I had to wipe my hands. And Barely Begun says, yes, he is new, so he's kind of throwing darts at a dartboard and hoping a few will stick. You know what? It'll take some time, but you'll get it right into your groove, and it'll pick up. The first couple years, I'll tell you, are super hard. It's really, really rough going. And it's hard not to take like rejections personal. Like sometimes I used to get like I used to really work myself up and then be like, obviously I'm not talented. And I would just like really get down on myself. But that's not it. Those are your brain weasels acting on overdrive, telling you things that aren't true. And it's just a matter of the fact that the competition is so heavy that they tend to pick people who've already been there. And then there's usually like a little bit of a lottery system or some weird committee that decides on like 2 or 3 little vendors to bring in to try them out. So it's never a bad sign if they're rejecting you. I don't know if you knew these things, which is why I'm telling you. But it always feels really good when they decide that you're one of the little vendors that they're going to go ahead and pull in. I love that part. So, I'm expecting to go down like a rock having the tea and then also drinking my magnesium after this because the magnesium makes me very sleepy. Even after all this time when you would think I'd be very used to it, no, it still puts me down. Okay, I just tell you, this is my jam. It is so good. I personally like it even better than the broccoli cheese soup, and I love that one. But this one, I could see some impulse control on eating it, but it is really tasty. So let's see. Oh, Marianne says the soup's looking good. So I'm glad to hear that you guys like the way it looks. The warden's asking how long other people have to wait for it, and I'm just going to say I don't know if I'm sharing it or not. We'll see. I mean, there's meat Sonia in the house still. I'm just saying. So, all right. Anyways, I also forgot, and I didn't put my other topping on here. You guys, I made a dish earlier. And I just got to say, I'm in love with this. This is the Don Chilio jalapeno chili crisp. And I did forget, so now I have to dig out another spoon. Actually, I have this little spoon here for my delightful little crispy jalapeno bits. And a little bit of the jalapeno oil. I will say that, Air Fryer Auntie, you probably won't like the Don Chilio jalapeno crisps. And I will tell you, they are crispy and crunchy. It's an appropriate, actually crisp properly, and it is excellent. Air Fryer Nanny says she likes Dr. Pepper Zero. See, she likes pepper. you would like this with the poblanos because that is not spicy. Poblanos are generally very mild. You would not like the chili crisp though, the jalapeno chili crisp. Um, Also, you could reduce the amount of poblanos and mix in some of the red and orange bell pepper, which would give it a sweet flavor, but it would blend just fine with all of the other ingredients. Mm. Mm. Sorry, because I don't have someone else to entertain you while I stuff my face, but it's really good. Mm. Hey, welcome, Mike Sandy. Yeah, the soup is good. Thank you for the compliment, though. And I said it on the other recipe that I made with the potato soup about the jalapeno chili crisp, the Don Chilio. But just in case you haven't gone back and watched that video yet, this stuff is amazing. A lot of times, if you buy chili crisp that's already made, as opposed to doing it yourself, it's with canola oil, which is, if you follow a ketogenic lifestyle, even though we like to say it's not ingredient restrictive, it's ingredient restrictive because seed oils can be very inflammatory. But this has a fruit oil. The only ingredients in here are jalapeno chilies, olive oil, salt, and spices. I love that they went with the olive oil. Not only is it a less inflammatory oil, it is a flavor profile that really goes nicely with the jalapeno. And if you make your own, yes, you could use avocado, which is also a fruit oil, but I will say that I think the flavor profile of the good olive oil lends itself more nicely to the jalapeno. Miriam says she's also a wimp on the spices and she likes poblano soup. Good to know. We'll have to keep that in mind. Maybe we'll make some at Ketopalooza like a crazy person. Where do I think I'm going to be doing all of this cooking? And Renee says she's with me. She loves adding fresh cracked black pepper to things. She made a roast beef with a rosemary pepper crust and added more cracked pepper to her gravy. Oh, wow. That sounds amazing. I look forward to following suit with that. That sounds great. Time for another bite. Mm. Mm. And the jalapeno crisp, that's the piece de resistance here. Mm. So today, my kid and I were going to go to a flea market until I actually got to their apartment and we looked at the flyer and we realized, oh, it's not until the 11th. So we were too early. But they needed groceries and don't have a car. So we went to Aldi's and I didn't buy anything. And they bought lunch meats and cheeses and kind of just had like a nice time going through everything. So that was great. I literally was spending time with my kid. And I think next weekend, maybe we're going to try and go out to like a brunch or something with the family. I don't know. But sometimes we go to Waffle House and I'm just like not in the mood. Like I don't know, for whatever reason, even though I actually really enjoy Waffle House, I just really am not feeling it. And maybe I'll change my mind by next weekend, but I just feel like going someplace a little nicer. So I'm going to have to do some research on where to get good breakfast in this area. Unless everybody can agree on a burger joint, even though some of us don't like burgers because of the no bun policy. But I love my burger patties without a bun. And even before I had to be keto, the buns were irrelevant to me. I would eat them, but I really love hamburger patties and all the toppings, especially fried eggs. Mm. Mm. So I think that the cauli rice on the bottom is outstanding. The other thing, while it wouldn't be necessarily the similar profile, I do feel like instead of chicken, you could put little beef bits in here. Maybe even ground beef. I don't know about ground beef. Might be a little bit too weird. But you could absolutely do a long simmer before you add in the creamy part and cook down some of the little tiny cube stew meats like we've been doing, like we used in the pork cult. That's a really good option that you could try. It would give this a whole different flavor profile, but I bet it would still be delicious. That's probably what I would do going with the green chili stew, which, if we're honest, is almost the same thing except for instead of poblanos, you would use hatch green chilies. Green chili stew is hatch green chilies. Oh, and Sharon says cubed pork would be great also. Oh, it sure would. That is a great idea. Actually, pork would be an excellent choice. Carrie is making ground beef jokes. Hilarious. So, And Lisa says hatch would be an awesome flavor. Yeah, I promised Renee that we would do a green chili stew, and I've got that in my head. So we'll do that, but not next weekend. Next weekend, I'm going to be using the keto chow mushroom soup. So stay tuned for that recipe. And then, I don't know, you guys, I have this soup, which is so good that I'm going to eat it for the next couple days. But part of me also saw on the Hungry Heat channel using that baked potato soup for some tater tots. And I'm wondering, I make cauliflower rice tater tots where I mix in eggs and cheese and green onion and a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Well, I use cheddar and Parmesan as the binder. And I'm sort of wondering if I could try some of that baked potato soup in with that mixture, and if that would help with the baking and the crisping, or if it would make it not as nice as the cheese. I would still use the cheese though, so I don't know. I'm just wondering if it would give it more tater tot flavor. I have to think about that. What do you guys think? Worth a shot, right? Like, how bad can it be? Either way, it's still like it's a tater tot. It's a collie tot. That's what it is, a collie tot, which are really delicious. And it's been a while. And Carrie says he'll have to get his radio to stay tuned for next week. Oh, okay. And Lisa's saying she needs my sticky cauli rice recipe. Sticky cauli rice is really easy. You're going to take your grated cauliflower and you pre-microwave it because that cooks it, but keeps the texture firm and wicks away a lot of the moisture, which sounds weird since, we're trying to make sticky rice, but you want as much moisture out of that cauliflower as possible. Then you're going to put it in your skillet. And any other things, like if you want to fry up onion or something first, great. But you get your cauli rice in the skillet and you get it where it's starting to get dried out and a little bit more toasty. And then you go ahead and you sprinkle your unflavored beef gelatin in there and get that all melted. Add in your coconut aminos, a little bit of fish sauce, and a little bit of apple cider vinegar to give it that flavor. If you want, you can add a drop or two of monk fruit, but I prefer not. That's really a personal choice. A lot of people like to do that because then it tastes more like mirin, but that would bring it all together. And Rickwin is saying to try the potato keto chow. She bets that using flavoring would add what you're looking for. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is the potato, mixing a little bit of that in there. Oh, air fry Annie, you're awesome. You found that link super fast. So, but yeah, the secret to the sticky rice is the gelatin. So good. And I gotta say, the tea tastes great. I'm a big fan of lemon balm though, so that could be part of it. It's super nice, and it kind of plays nicely with the soup because there's that little bit of the chili flavor and the cumin and stuff, and then it sort of mellows out with this natural sweetness from the mint and the lemon balm. So let's see, lots of things back and forth. So I said that I had some gaming thing to talk about. Our new gamer friend isn't here, but that's okay. So I know most of you will not care about this in the least, but I happen to like games by a creator called Hideo Kojima. He did video games, Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill, so scary games, suspense horror, or whatever, or things like that. And Metal Gear Solid was also his personal statement about disconnected society, et cetera, et cetera. And a couple of years ago, when he stopped working for Konami, well, he didn't stop, they got rid of him. What a big mistake. Well, he said, oh, really? And then went off and started his own company, created a game called Death Stranding that was ultimately super controversial because, I don't know. Well, first of all, because it was controversial because gamers like to argue about stuff. But it took some pretty serious adult content. And I don't mean like sexy content. I mean, really dealing with like humanity and death and stuff like that. And social media. I mean, it really took some stabs at that. Also, a lot of people didn't like it because they felt like it was a walking simulation, but you really had to be one of those people who likes some weird ass stories because it's weird. I gotta admit, but I was sucked in. I played that game through twice and then a third time to get what's called platinum. I did everything in that game, and I built roads. I did all kinds of stuff. So, but so he's doing a new release and Death Stranding 2, and just dropped a second trailer for it, and oh, it blows you away. I will tell you also, it's done with Pele. So, you know, in addition to that, they're going a different direction with some storytelling options. And it is just going to be, I am so excited. And a lot of people are like, are you though? Because are you sure it sounds super weird? And I'm like, yeah, super weird is totally my thing. I'm excited. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, Silent Hill was definitely very scary. And I like all the Resident Evils too, but a couple of the Resident Evils were very, very hard for me to play. And I don't mean from a scary standpoint. I mean, technically, it was super hard. They were hard games. Those are for your advanced gamers. Resident Evil, not the last one, Village. Village was pretty mellow and easy to play. Like the story was great. All of the scary was there. But the mechanics were a lot easier. So yeah. Oh yeah, Uncle Big Guy says, "How about same bat channel, same bat time?" That's a good phrase. So anyway, so that's the gamer thing there, and of course now it's February, so I am just 2 months away from hosting the Catan Nationals qualifier in Indianapolis. So excitement galore. Good stuff happening here. So that is everything I've got for tonight. It's a couple minutes early, but I'm going to go finish my dinner, drink my tea, and then lay down in bed and fall asleep. Oh, Lisa says, what's the name of the new release game? It's Death Stranding 2. So you can check it out. If you didn't play the first one, I'll be honest, the second one will make even less sense. So you would probably want to watch some YouTube about the first one. So he says he thinks he wants to add diced jalapenos next time he makes the toss. Ooh, that's a good idea. And Sharon says, thanks for a nice evening. You're welcome. Thank you so much. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on the way out. Enjoy your soup, and you have a great time. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.